Rob Vanstone. I don't know when the last time you two talked to each other was. Robbie, Brian, Robbie.
Was it Pats versus Winnipeg at the Brandt Center?
Oh, would have been for sure. Like, we can't get Rob Vanstone on without talking a little Jets hockey. Come on.
Oh, especially right now.
How's the heartbeat, Rob?
Not especially. It's better than it was after Game 4. But now going back to St. Louis, where 2 games have not been extremely enjoyable to watch, and without Scheifele for Game 6, already without Ehlers, I don't know. I'm stressed out, and the game is still quite a ways away. Game 6 is still quite a ways away.
So are you calling Game 7?
I'm sorry?
Is there going to be a Game 7 then?
Well, the way that series has gone in St. Louis, it's been such a homer series. I mean, home teams are 5-0. So if you look at that, you look at the Jets without Scheifele, I would think it's probably coming back to Winnipeg for Game 7. But, hey, would that be a whiteout or what?
The big question that we have you here for, Rob, is do you have a favorite Brooks and Dunn song?
I'm a jazz fan. I don't know anything about Brooks or Dunn, but so this segment is probably done.
No,
if you want to talk about the greatest musician ever, regardless of genre, jazz pianist Oscar Peterson, I'll go on forever. Oscar's the best.
Oscar, does he live in Maple Ridge?
Oscar Peterson was born in Montreal, lived in Mississauga, and is the absolute greatest. Google Oscar Peterson Sea Jam Blues, and your life will change.
I'm looking at the Prairie Land Rentals text line, and this Brooks and Dunn thing. I got to get to all these in a while. Plus, Dan just sent me a screenshot. He's at Chow's Jean and Top getting something altered. So both of those things have triggered people today. The draft yesterday, Robbie, and I know a lot of people out there, as we all three of us know, and everybody out there, that there are a ton of general managers out there from the Saskatchewan Roughriders now dissecting things. When you first look at it, is it the Curtis Rourke pick in the third round that is the one that jumps out at you, and that they took, I guess you could say, maybe a flyer there on a guy that could be a few years away?
I mean, you could say that. I mean, generally the Flyers are in Philadelphia. Generally the Flyers are lower down in the draft. And, you're thinking, okay, maybe there's an off chance, so we'll spend a 7th or an 8th on an NFL draftee or signee. The fact that that's a third round pick paints a bit of a different picture. Will he be here this year? No. Will he be here next year? Probably not. But you still got to look at the fact he's a 7th round draft pick. 2 rounds below Shedeur Sanders. So he's not coming in with the kind of accolades that a first rounder would carry. So one of the Rough Rider coaches did a bit of research, and basically almost all the quarterbacks drafted by an NFL team in the last 2 years are still in the league. There's very few exceptions. But if you're looking 3 years, 4 years down the road, I think there's a reasonable chance of that happening. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone in the 3rd. He would have been a throwaway pick in the 8th, and let's just see what happens 6 years from now.
I thought when we were before the draft, and I don't know if I mentioned it on the show, I was like, I don't think he'll go that long. Somebody's going to take a chance on it just in case, because if it pays off, right? It's like playing the slappers. Heck, it's like playing roulette. Sometimes that number that you put your chips on hits, and then you look like, hey, look how smart I am. How does it work again? How many years would he be protected then by the Riders? Like, what's our window?
If he were to play in the NFL for 72 years and then decide to come to the CFL, the Rough Riders would own his rights. And I hope to write that story if it comes to that.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
Somebody asked me today if I could put a percentage on it. It's tough to say. I mean, he's with a team and with a coach where, we've seen it with Brock Purdy in San Francisco, where someone didn't come in with a high draft rating and has become a starter. So we've seen that program is good as far as lower round quarterback. Didn't work out that well with Trey Lance. But that model has worked for them. And Kyle Shanahan working with the quarterback could be the amount that he could learn there. But I mean, I look at the fact too. I mean, Nathan Rourke coming off that 2022 season. I mean, that's about as well as you can play quarterback anywhere. And he ultimately didn't stick around in the NFL. Now he wasn't drafted. But how do you look at that 2022 season and say, just slough it off? I mean, so I realize I'm going back and forth on this, but I think that's the nature of the pick. And there's going to be a lot of speculation, but I don't think you want to be the GM 3 or 4 years from now or whenever, when Curtis Rourke comes to the CFL and you're thinking, oh, I could have had him. Now, every now and then the third rounder can turn into something huge. In 1995, the Roughriders used a third rounder on Gene Mikowski. So that can happen, but it's not often the third rounder is a franchise type player. And that could be an exception if Curtis Rourke were to end up playing in Canada. And there's ratio benefits as well. I mean, it's such a lottery win if it happens, and a third rounder is a very small price to pay.
So you're telling
Rob,
me
when you
there's
look
a
at
chance.
it, obviously, that's exactly it right there. So Rob, when you look at it, you've got your diehard CFL fan that's going to pay attention to these kids that might or might not come north of the border. For your average Saskatchewan Roughrider fan, now into the back half of the week, are the Riders a better football club than they were going into Monday?
Well, you look at what they've done with the trenches, and I think it's a team that's already strong on the offensive and defensive lines with so much depth already. But to get Ali Saad in the first round, 4th overall, I think that's someone who can be a Corey Mace type player at some point. Eric Anderson going in the 2nd round. Now, he's got an NFL rookie mini camp, but I think the chances are reasonably good that the Roughriders will see him. There are so many offensive linemen here who played last year that there isn't the imperative of someone being here right away. But those are 2 players that, according to the Rough Rider draft board, were 1st round material. And so within 13 picks, there are two players of that nature. Seth Hundeby in the 4th round, he was someone who's I think could have gone in the 3rd. And he's going back to the U of S to play another year for the Huskies and completing his engineering degree. But that pick, I think, really is going to be noticeable in years to come. It's a couple of futures picks 3 and 4, but I think the Rough Riders in rounds 1 and 2 addressed more immediate needs.
Who does Daniel Weber remind you of?
Well, in his interview with the Rough Riders, he was asked about his size. He's 5'8", and he invoked the good name of Weston Dressler. Yeah. So now, if that comparison is applicable in the next month or two or year or two, I think we're pretty happy about that. But I mean, he ran a 4.52 40, ran the 2nd fastest 3-cone drill in the history of the combine. Tremendous athlete and pretty strong for his size. I am looking so much forward to rookie camp to see what he does out there. His first CFL practice will be on the field that he knows so well. So I think I'm probably giving away my angle for day 1 of rookie camp, but that's where I'm going. Hey, a tremendous kid too.
It's an old-fashioned tease. We like it. Rider historian Rob Vanstone joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. You are basically, this is how I picture it anyway, a fly on the wall in that stadium. You're kind of just going. How much work goes into this draft? Give us a look.
With me being a fly on the wall, I think there's a lot of people looking for pesticides around here and a swatter.
one of those sticky things that hangs down.
They've been waiting 40 years to hit him with this thing, and now they can do it.
Yeah, it's. I think maybe some people were salivating at that notion. It's interesting. I was downstairs in the football operations area yesterday, thinking, okay, it'll be a little calmer. But now you're negotiating with players. You're trying to handle all the logistics of getting players into Saskatoon, a few into Regina by next week. It's crazy right now. And there's kind of a feeling of calm after the draft for a few minutes. But I think now there's just such a compressed time frame between draft over, rookie camp starts on Wednesday, that it's pretty busy. The days leading up to the draft, the draft board is pretty much set. I mean, there's so much work that goes into that with Kyle Carson, the assistant GM, Paul Jones, assistant GM, Kent Majiri, the special teams coordinator, is involved a lot. So is Corey Mace. Jordan Greenlee, football operations coordinator, does. So there's so many people who are doing so much.
But that's the thing that I wanted to ask. That's the thing that I wanted to ask. It's like, there's got to be a number of people that are like, 16, 17-hour days leading up to this, watching film, figuring it out. Okay, what if this guy goes here? Then what's our play? And, it's not just Jeremy O'Day or Mueller or Mace or who. There's got to be a number of people that need the plugs and the shout-outs on it.
Larry Dean, Mark Mueller, I could go on endlessly. Nick Boley and Nathan Schellenberg and Mike Wojtowicz, the analytics people are so hugely involved. And we were all crammed into a room for a couple of mock drafts. And what really got me is I sat down in the draft room, and Kyle Carson, the assistant GM, he had to go back to his office for a reason. And he walks back in, and he opens his binder. And the binder is called Draft 2025. And this thing was like so thick. And that really underlined it for me. I'd love to flip through that thing and see what's in there. That you could get a hernia lifting that draft book.
So, Rob, you touched on it, and it is hard to believe now that we're into May that the CFL calendar is right here. How exciting is everybody to kind of get up and rolling again, and kind of what's the vibe there around the stadium?
Well, I think last year there was a lot of progress, and so I think that whetted the appetite. You get to a Western final, and you want to take that next step, but you can't really address it. Go through the rest of November, December, January, February. A beautiful Saskatchewan winter once again, and now we're on the verge of it. There's so much that happens during the off season with free agency and whatever. And you look at the team's roster on paper, and that I think that also whets the appetite. But you just want to see that first workout. You want to see, players checking into the dorms. To see what is about to unfold. It's exhilarating, and it's a chance to see people that you're friends with once again. So there is that. I'm going to miss my dog for 3 weeks, but those are the sacrifices one has to make every now and then. I'll miss my wife too. Sorry, dear.
I was gonna ask about the dog at the end of the interview. So, but Kay, you can't use the word impressive because
my dog is impressive. Yes.
It was Dave Thomas yesterday. Who else? Maz and Craig Reynolds. They used the word impressive talking about the commissioner. I think it's 11 times in count. Your thoughts on the new commissioner? You can't use the word impressive. Seamless.
He just seems to have made a seamless transition to that position. And it's like what he was doing at TSN for a number of years, I think prepped him pretty well for that. It's one he's had numerous high profile jobs at TSN, but that being the rights holder too, I think it is such a comfortable fit for him to move into the commissionership, especially with a media rights deal not too far around the corner. And he's such an engaging guy. Very impressive, I might add. I talked with him last week on the phone, and within 2 minutes, I felt like I'd known him for 50 years, and I've yet to meet him in person. And absolutely sensational sense of humor.
Did you tell him about your dog?
I did tell him about my dog. Yes, I tell everybody about my dog. I haven't texted him any photos of my dog yet, but I'll save that for June 5th when he's here. Give him some photos in person. It just I was so impressed with him. And his first press conference really impressed me too, because he was positive, but he was pragmatic, and I think it just just everything about him, even his voice. I mean, you listen to that voice, you think, man. That guy could be a first-rate broadcaster. Would he? I mean, how many people are born with that larynx? That's impressive as well. I certainly wasn't.
Wonder if he could come by and voice some commercials here at Harvard if we asked him.
West Coast one day. Not that we're cutting Munsey, but
yeah. Hey, cut me. If anybody, especially golf season now, put me on the chopping block, please.
We got Fred who needs Barney, right?
Yeah, exactly. Rob, always a pleasure. Let's do maybe even do this next week, right? We're like you said, camp is around the corner. We'll be talking with you lots over the next little bit. Get home tonight, watch some hockey, listen to some Brooks and Dunn, and then we'll catch up again.
Sounds great. I hope the Blues are done pretty soon.
Yeah, you're a Jazz.
And Adam Brooks is a former Jet, so there we go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Rider historian Rob Vanstone joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline.